Gardening through the spring in places with a warming climate like my Austin, Texas backyard can be a fast and furious affair. While we're experiencing extended drought conditions, we've yet to surpass our last average frost date. And we were experiencing a warming spell that many would characterize as summer-like. But I've got a lot growing in this garden, and there's more to come. So in this weekly roundup, I want to share what I'm planting and planning for the season ahead, as well as my observations for the fall and winter grow season. I'm Scott from New Garden Road, always out here to inform, inspire, and elevate you. Encouraging biodiversity and restoring habitat is my mission, one garden at a time. This garden has survived a winter storm, and it came through like a champ. I gotta be honest, I put 3 layers of row cover on most of these raised beds. But I had a smaller garden going into the season, so I planned accordingly, and I essentially used every bit of resource that I had. And that paid off because the broccoli, which is just beginning to crown, and all of my kale and other tender lettuces, they made it through just fine. My citrus trees, on the other hand, in the high tunnel, I got a little bit of damage because we had an extended cold spell and it was down into the teens and 20s, and we had about a 5-night stretch with hard freezes consecutively. So that can be a lot, and each one of these winter storms is a little bit different in nature. And although I did a lot to protect my citrus trees in the high tunnel, I did get some tip burn on my key limes, which are pretty tall, and I just wasn't able to get an extra layer of row cover on them. But more on that in a later video. Now it's the middle of February, and I can tell that the garden is just bursting to life. The soil temperatures are warming up, the sun is getting higher in the sky, and I just today, I saw at least 3 butterflies in the garden. They were getting nectar from the henbit that's popped up as a weed in all my raised beds, which I don't really mind. But I gotta tell you, this feels like spring with a touch of summer. That's just how it goes here. We have broken some daily heat records, and with a little bit of rain yesterday, probably the first significant rain in months in Austin, things are feeling really good, but we are headed back to the mid-80s next week. So what is a gardener to do in our area? Well, you got to stay the course. I've got my crops growing, and they are going to continue to produce for me. One thing that I've employed on my lettuce is the shade cloth, which can help to extend the season by keeping that sun off the plants and the soil, which as the soil heats up, you really get some triggering of those crops to go to seed and bolt. I'm going to be extending the shade cloth that I'm using on the rest of these low tunnels likely tomorrow morning, just in preparation for the week ahead. So that can really help you. But also think about, what do you want to plant right now? Because while technically we can plant more of these cool season crops, I think we are really on the fringe here. Today is February 15th, and you might consider things like lettuce, spinach, radishes, maybe even some turnips, beets. If you have some space to grow things like broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, kale, you can do that, but you're going to need to find a really mature start or seedling that you can plant out in your garden. Some of those others you can plant from seed, but if you're planting from seed, you want to plant the fastest crops. Look at the days to harvest on the seed package, and if you're looking for some fast greens, lettuce can really produce well for you in a short amount of time. You can grow some baby leaf lettuce in about 3 weeks. That's going to be really great, but also crops like mustard greens and Asian greens could be a good choice because from seed, they can often mature in around 45 days. When it comes to root crops, I would definitely look at the spring radishes because those can go on to produce for you in around 30 days. In addition to those, it's time to plant potatoes. The time is now. I'm going to be planting mine very soon in some grow bags. That's just really how I love to do it. I like to experiment with a few different varieties and keep the raised beds for the next round of crops, which is going to be coming in. And the one that I want to highlight for you that's coming up probably in the next 2 weeks is corn. I'm going to be growing from some saved seeds, the Cherokee White Eagle, and I'm going to grow 2 raised beds, 2 4-foot by 8-foot raised beds. That's what most of these beds measure, and I can't wait to get those in. And I think I'm going to also interplant on the south side of that bed, maybe make a little nook and plant some squash. I want to grow some tatume this season, and I think if you go for the end of February, Not to say we won't have to navigate cold spells, potential frosts and freezes. It's not out of the question. It's time to go. You've got to go and make it happen. And if it doesn't work out, you've likely got a little more time to plant again, because the cold snaps that we'll get will just be that, and they're going to come and go pretty quickly. So if your initial planting doesn't make it, early in March, you can get it in another one, but you got to go. Tomatoes are one of the trophy fruits of the garden, and those are arriving in local nurseries now. And the same thing goes. I think you should plant them, but you're going to protect them with some row cover. You can do the tomatoes in a well technique, where you essentially dig a hole in your garden, plant your tomato in that hole, and then as it grows, you can backfill and it will root out from the stem. Meanwhile, as it's young and we navigate these cold temperatures through March, you can cover it with some row cover to protect it on the coldest of nights. And that's not all. We can look at growing some cucumbers and some snap beans. You want to really get those going early in March. Even late February, I think is a good bet for us here in downtown Austin. And it's time to get those growing. You want to get some food on your plate in around 50 to 60 days. That's going to land really nicely for most of those. The corn's going to take about 100 days, and that's going to be perfect before we get too hot, and those ears will get nicely pollinated and really get going for you. And the same goes for the tomatoes. We just have this ideal window when we can get them in and they can set their fruit. And we want to get started early from really healthy transplants, and then they will get going for us. When we start to get 90 degrees consistently, that will begin to interfere with fruit set and pollination. And on the heels of those, we can look at crops like peppers and eggplant. They are really going to love this upcoming warm season, and it won't be long before I will be planting out my okra. I'm going to start with some successive planting this season, and in March I'm going to do some of those that I just talked about. In April I'll start moving into crops like okra, long beans, southern peas, lima beans, some of the warm season greens, and then I want to do another round in May, early May. So succession planting, filling up these beds incrementally, and that's going to be my goal, because I want to get some in early, hedge my bets, get some layers of food, and then keep on planting, because I always want to have some crops growing in my garden. I'm also noticing that some of the carrots that I planted in November and December are starting to size up. I did 2 plantings. The first one is starting to look pretty good. I'm checking the shoulders of those carrots down there in the soil, and I'm probably going to start harvesting a few. So if you don't have some carrots growing in the garden, you may still have a little time to get some going. It can take a couple of weeks for them to germinate, so you better jump to it. And I would choose a variety like the hybrid Napoli. I've grown that one from high mowing, and it's around 55 days. Otherwise, you could find something like the Little Fingers from Botanical Interest, and that's a fast carrot, or relatively fast as it goes, because many varieties take 80 to 90 days, and so that's going to really put us into the initial frying pan or the preheating stage of Central Texas. I did get my onions in last weekend, and I'm very excited about that. I've planted them on the north side of my planting of garlic, which I put in the month of November. Those onions are going to get a little bit taller, so when we're looking at our interplanting, I'm putting the taller crops on the north side, and maximizing the sun capture on the southern horizon, which is where my garlic is planted. So those will also both come to harvest around the same time in the month of May, and they have similar fertilizer requirements, something higher in nitrogen, like an 824 fertilizer, or the MicroLife 624, I believe. I just drenched them today with the MicroLife Biomatrix. That's got a lot of nitrogen, which will promote leafy green growth, which is essentially part of that bulbing onion and part of that garlic clove as it goes to develop. So you got to give them the right fertilizer, and grouping them together that way is a really good way to do it. I do want to talk about some of the observations that I've been having at this point in the season. Recently, as things are really just starting to burst forward with life, I'm seeing more weeds, but the henbit, which might be considered a nuisance in your garden, is starting to flower, and I saw several butterflies out here today taking advantage of that nectar. Also, my fava beans that I've got going are flowering, attracting beneficial insects, and the pest insects that I'm noting would be aphids, some of the black spotted cucumber beetles, and it looks like evidence of a few caterpillars coming back. Caterpillars seem to diminish naturally in the coldest part of the winter. There are some reasons behind that. One of the organic controls, Bacillus thuringiensis, or BT as it's referred to, does occur naturally in the garden. During the peak of winter, that can be a catalyst for diminishing those populations of caterpillars. However, now I think I'm seeing it start to tip the other way. And as these winter crops become a little bit triggered to go to seed, they are also, getting a little bit weaker because they're putting their energy into that, that flower and that seed head. And these pest insects will come and take advantage of that. I don't see it as part of my role to mitigate that in any way. I'm going to let it happen. Maybe I'll save some seeds. Maybe I will invite and have a place for these beneficial insects to take part in the organic gardening that I like to do. That's a really good way to create a habitat, have a food source for those beneficial insects, just by understanding the natural cycles in your garden. And if you get a few pest bugs here and there, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Now, we don't want it all over the place. That could indicate some other underlying stressors, such as our soil, our timing, our crop selection, our sun exposure, or not watering efficiently. These are all the things that I talk about in my consultations, which represent setting the stage for optimal growth. So just take that all into consideration as you get your garden growing now. I know you're going to get some tomatoes growing. You're excited about it. Look for some peppers and get some cucumbers and maybe some squash going. That one's got its own unique challenges, but you should check out my video on my squash diet because I've been through it all and I wanted to tell you about it. I want to know what you're excited about growing in your spring garden. Leave me a comment or a question below this video and I'll get back to you. Now check out more awesome gardening videos on my channel like this video and follow New Garden Road for weekly content. You can grow your own food. Keep it organic.